Okay, so hopefully you've got him in a way that you like and have a nice selection there. So let's continue. Let's continue again with our type tool. And I'll just show you a few more things here. So we're going to write the word free right here, but I want us to find a font that looks more like a handwritten font. And Bradley Hand is kind of a good one, but there's a few if you want to play around and look through. This Chalk Duster one could work as well. But I'm just going to choose Bradley Hand. And let's just click here and let's type in free. Okay. And I want to change the color here. So how would I go about doing that? Well, I would, again, so let's highlight that text. And let's do, I mean, you can do whatever color you want, but I'm going to just do kind of a darker red. I'll hit OK. And then let's angle this a bit so it's not quite horizontal. So we could Command T for our free transform. And if I hover outside the corners here, I see my arrows turn into these two arrows that are bent. So if I just click and drag, I can turn that a bit and go ahead and hit enter or accept that. And then V for my move tool, and then let's move it like, I don't know, somewhere here. And I'm going to Command T again. I want to rotate that a bit more. Okay. And I'll hit V. I'll move that out just a little bit. Okay. And then, let's move that like there. So now what I want to do is I want to put an underline under it so it looks a bit more emphasized. And I could do that a couple of different ways. I mean, if I come back to my text tool, right, I could actually, oh no, here it is on the side. If I open up my character tool, I could then, right, I could highlight my text and I could put an underline there. But that doesn't look very good. It looks kind of mechanical, and I don't really like that. So let's just do this by hand. So let's uncheck that underline. Oh, okay. And we're just going to do this with a brush tool. So let's go ahead and create a brush tool, or go to your brush tool, and then let's create a new layer. And for our brushes, I'll just show you here. There's a few different things we can go into. So here in our brushes, right, we have all these folders here. Mine are open because I was playing around with those. And there's a lot of different presets you can download and get a lot of custom brushes from Adobe as well. But these are the ones that should already be in your Photoshop package. And let's go to, you can play around with these, but the one that I'm using is if you go to Dry Media Brushes, these show you what these brushes all look like. And I'm using this one here, this Ultimate Pastel Palooza. This one has kind of a nice hand brushed look to it. And you can adjust the size here. But let's go ahead and, again, so the open and close brackets will, we'll make that bigger or smaller. And let's keep it that same color. So right, I accidentally changed that. So I go down to my foreground tool, and then it turns into the eyedropper tool. So I'm just going to click on that free there, so I get that same red. And then let's, okay, that looks okay. That's a little bit big. Let me undo that. I'm going to make that brush size a little bit smaller, that open bracket. Okay, that looks good. And then let's actually do a hand-drawn exclamation point too. And that kind of matches. So let's play around with that until you get that right. And then we'll go back down into some more text here. So let's go now to, let's go back to our text tool. I'm going to close this here. Okay. And then now let's click and let's type in, oh, no, I don't want that font. So let's get out of that font here. So these fonts, again, you can choose whichever ones you want. The one that I used here next was Helvetica, one of my favorites here. So let's, oh, okay, and change that font back to black. Okay, so we're gonna write out some stuff here. So let's go and let's change our size. We're a bit too big. Let's just change that to 24. And here I want you to write out. So let's type out I exams. And then next would be from January 20th to February 2nd, or whatever dates you want. These are just the ones that I was using. And then brought to you by, oh, okay. So the move tool, we have that. But I want to center this up so it looks a bit more aesthetic. So let's go ahead and come back to our type tool. I mean, I could have done this right at the beginning too, but I'll just show you how to retroactively go back and do this. So up across the top here, I have my justifications, my left, center, and right. So go ahead and click on center justification. That will center up everything nice, and hit OK. And then move tool, and we'll move that out here. And I'd like to make I exams a bit bigger. So we can highlight that, and we can come up to our font here and, I don't know, 48 point font? Okay, that looks okay. And then hit OK. And let's just kind of adjust this around a little bit. I'll put a space here. Okay. Okay, that looks okay. So now let's get into these other files that I've had you download here. So now we're gonna work on these logos a little bit. So here we go into the AccuView logo. And here we notice this is nice and ready for us, right? If it's not a layer, go ahead and double click it so it is, so you can mess with it here. But we notice there's no background here, so this is nice. So if I, basically if I select this right now, which I am, I could Command C, and then I could bring it into my image here, and I could Command V, and I could paste, oh, no, sorry, hang on, AccuView, select my layer, Command C, and then Command V. So that brings it in nice, and we don't have to really do anything with it, right? We don't have to deal with that background at all. So we can just bring that right in. Another way we could do it is, here I'll delete that. I'll go back to my AccuView logo, and I can just select this, and I can just drag this up to my document. I'm still holding, and then I could just let go once I'm in here, and that plops it down right there. So let's go ahead and, so let's get that in there any way you like. And once it's in here, let's resize this a little bit. Nice and big. Okay, and then hit OK. Now let's go to our LensCrafter logo, and let's double click. So now, if we're on this layer, and if we Command C here and Command V and paste it here, we see we have all that white background to deal with. So we don't want to have that in there. So delete that, and let's go back to this LensCrafter logo here. Make sure that's unlocked so we can mess with this as a layer. And there's a couple of different ways you could eliminate the background, but this would go back into our quick selection and magic wand tool. Now here I would recommend the magic wand tool. And essentially if I have contiguous on, and if I click, it's going to select basically all the white that's touching. And if I delete, then I still have this area of white inside the eye, which that's actually okay. I don't mind that there. But here down in the text, right, the A and the R, and right here, I still have white in there. So I'd want to make sure I click inside there and delete there, and then delete there. Or I can just back up here. So I could go and unclick contiguous. So then now wherever I click, it's going to pick out all of the white. And notice it picked up all the white there. Even in the little registered symbol down there, it gets the, well, again, depending on your tolerance, but it even gets inside here. So I'm going to make sure contiguous is off and hit delete, and then Command D to get rid of that selection. And now I can either click and drag. Right, if I just click this, select my move tool and click and then drag into our document, I can now just plop it down there, and then Command T so we can resize it. Okay. Now for this exercise, remember I went over smart objects with you, and I'm not too concerned with them right now because I know I'm not going to be resizing anything or making edits to a master or anything like that. So don't worry too much about the smart objects here for these, because we're not going to be resizing these or needing to do anything else with them. Okay. So now we have these two logos in, and what I want to do now is I want to kind of line all this up. And I mean, one way to do that would be to we could pull out a guideline. And let's just say I don't know, we'll put it in the middle of the heart for now, but as I click on each one of these and Command T, I can zoom in, and I always know where that middle point is, so I could nudge this over to the right. Let me click on this AccuView and hit Command T. Oh, hit accept. So I could nudge this over to the right, just so I get that square lined up with my ruler. And then hit accept. Can click on the text and then Command T. So here I can see I'm off a bit. So let's go ahead and click and drag that over. And then I can keep nudging until that's right on that ruler as well. And it looks like it lines up right with that edge there. So maybe I might want to, let me hit that. I'm going to just shrink the eye exams just a little bit. Just because it's a little bit close. So it's at 48. And here, I'll just do it. I can input, I'll just put in 40. So that shrunk that down just a little bit. So accept that and zoom out. Okay, we have our two logos there. And let's go back to our text tool, and let's just write the, so type in and. Okay. And we'll make this smaller. We'll go back to that. I believe this January 20th to February 2nd was 24 point. And we'll just center this up as well. Okay. So notice all my Helvetica font right now is all bold. I'm actually not really digging that, but we'll keep eye exams bold. But let's highlight this January 20th. If it's not already, I mean, you might not have had that, but I think mine was already set to that. Let's just do regular. There we go. I like that better. You can keep yours any way you want, but I guess I'm gonna change this. I don't like that. Okay, so this is starting to come along. It looks okay, but the AccuView and the LensCrafter logos, I'd like them to pop out a little bit more. So what we're gonna do is, just like we did with this text up top here, is let's add in effects to these. So let's select that AccuView. Now, here are all of our layers, and we can see we have layer 1, layer 2, and things. The text layers will always be the start. They'll always read out as the start of the text. But when we get further along, again, I'll have us start naming these layers and organizing. But I more just wanted to get us kind of used to this stuff and just jumping in and kind of using these tools to start with the project. But just know this can get a bit messy. But for now, we're gonna just deal with it. But let's go to our AccuView layer here, our AccuView logo, and let's go to Effects. And I want to give this an outer glow here. I want to make it kind of pop out a little bit, and let's move that so we can. All right, here, let me move this down so I can see. So again, so we have opacity, we have the spread, and the size. Those are the ones that we're going to mess with here. We're not going to really touch anything else. So you can adjust this as you'd like. You'll see that spread and size are going to make the more significant changes here. All right, so that's way too much. But I just want to give it kind of a nice highlight. That's a bit too much. All right, and let's turn that up. Let's go up a bit more on the opacity so that pops. So just something like that. Again, play with that until you get it right, until you get something that you like. And I'm going to do the same for the Lens Crafter. Now I could just click on the Lens Crafter and I could come to Effects and I could do the same thing. But if I was really happy with what I got here on this layer, so notice my layer 3 here, I'm actually going to just, I should practice what I preach. So here, AccuView. Okay, so AccuView, and then I'll double click here, and here I'll put Lens Crafter. So now I know. So again, so AccuView, I know that it has an effects on it right here by this FX arrow up and down, and I can see that it's the outer glow. And again, if I wanted to change it, I could come to outer glow and double click, and it would bring this up for me, and I could make adjustments again. But let's just say I wanted to get this same effect onto the Lens Crafter. What I can do is when I'm on AccuView, I can right click and copy layer style, select that, and then I could click on Lens Crafter and then right click and then paste layer style. And then we see, boom, it takes the exact effect that I had on one layer and applies it to the next. So that looks pretty good to me. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to keep that there, and for just for organization, you could collapse these boxes just so you can have a little bit more space. I'll collapse that one too. And okay, let's see, where are we now? So let's do let's kind of go over the pen tool a little bit. I just want to show. Again, we're not gonna do too much with the pen tool, but I will show what it can do as far as making some custom shapes and whatnot. So let's start a new layer down here on the bottom. Remember, that's that little page with that upturned corner right there. Create a new layer. Let's start a new layer, and let's go to our pen tool, or P, and click on that. And so again, we have settings all across the top. Now make sure you're set on shape, right? You should all be set on shape, but for some reason, if it's on path or pixel or whatnot, that could be a problem. So make sure that's on shape. And we don't want a stroke, but you could put a fill. We're going to do a gradient fill, but I'll just show you how this can work. So just pick any color right now, that's fine. And here we go. If you've used the pen tool before, like in Illustrator, then you're a bit familiar with it. But the pen tool is something that we can use here. I want to create like a little wave here down at the bottom, kind of like I did. Let me show you here. So like that, right? If I just want to create a custom shape like that. So what we can do is let's click off to the side here, and then click onto this side here, and hold it. And now we can see as I move up, I create that curve down. As I move down, I create an upward curve. But let's just go ahead and click and then move up a bit so we get that little swoosh like so. And then as I let go, we can see now it filled across the top here, because that's where it's, that's where it's thinking I'm going to go. But if I click down here, which I will, then it's going to just kind of follow and fill where I think it's going to go. And so now I'm going to close that. Okay. So now I have this little shape that's been filled in, and right now it's red, but what I want to do is let's go to fill, and I'm going to just select a gradient again. And right now the default would be black to white, and I want it to go from, I mean, again, you can do whatever you'd like here, but I'm going to pick brown and blue. I kind of like that combo I was working with. So I'm going to have a darker brown on the left color, and then oh, let me change. Oh, other way. And then on this side, I'm going to go into kind of a lighter brown. Okay. That dark is a little bit too dark. And the light is a little bit too dark too, so let's make that a little bit lighter. Okay. So we have this shape here, and let's hit V for the move tool, and we'll click and we'll move that up a little bit. And I'm actually going to just make this a little bit translucent. So let's click on opacity. Make sure you're on the shape, but let's take that opacity down to, oh, I don't know, 75%. Now let's do 80%. Just so we can see through and see his shirt just a little bit. Okay, so with this still selected, this shape still selected here on our layer, go ahead and do Command C to copy, and then Command V to paste. That'll paste it in on its own new layer. So that just copied exactly what we did with the pen tool. And again, we could have just manually made another wave, but I wanted to just get that same wave going. And now I'm going to move it down, but so click back on the pen tool, or we could just double click here to change the gradient. So if you come to the shape, just because I want to change that gradient to another color here. So let's click to edit the color, double click on that little box, and now let's do a blue, or kind of a sea green blue. And that looks okay there. And then this color, we'll just make it a lighter, kind of make it a lighter version. Okay. Hit OK. Hit OK. And then we're on that move tool. And let's just move this down. To give us a little swoosh there. Now I have the blue in front, but once I let go, remember, if I want to send that to the back, I can Command and open and close brackets to move that. You see that on the right hand side, it's moving around. But let's keep that on top there. Okay. And then I want to do the same thing, so I want to copy it, but the other thing I could do, remember, is I could hold down Option, and then I could click, and I could drag, and that gives me a whole nother one as well as a copy. So let's get another one going, and then double click on the layer thumbnail here, and we'll change that gradient one more time. Oh, I don't know, let's do kind of a maroonish color. There we go. Something like that. Hit OK. And then this side we'll do, let me use so notice as I'm in the color picker mode, if I come up to my document, I get that eyedropper tool. So I could click anywhere in the document and I could get the color that I'm looking for. So I'm going to click that pinkish maroon, and then get a little bit lighter pink there. Hit OK. Hit OK. Hit OK. And now let's move this down. And we get a nice little three lines there, 3 streaks. Okay. And then one last thing we're going to do, we're going to bring in this iVision logo. And so right now I have it on lock, so double click that to unlock it. Oh. And again, so this has the white background in here. And what I want you to do is I want you to get rid of that white background. But notice here, we also have this funny little brownish yellow haze. So if I go to my magic wand tool, and let's just say I have contiguous off. So if I select white anywhere, it's going to select all of the white. So notice it selects all the white, and then if I go ahead and delete, but I got this little halo of, or yeah, this little fuzzy cloud here. And it also took away, let me Command Z, it also took away kind of this white right here around the border. So here's where you're going to have to play around with your tolerance a little bit, and you may want to, after I go through this, you might want to pause it and kind of go through, because I'd like you to get this iVision logo out cleanly without this little brown smoke here. So notice my tolerance is at 25, let's say. So if I lower that to say 15, and then I click on this white, see it now it's selecting parts of the, oh, and also Command D. It might be helpful to turn contiguous on here. And then now if I select 15, so notice, okay, the 15 tolerance did well. It didn't take out this white here. So if I delete, I still have the white around this blue, which I want to keep, but then I have this kind of a mess right in here. So there's a couple of different ways you could do this. Now if I Command D and get rid of that, I could come in here and set a really low, let's set a tolerance of 5. And if I select this brownish color, right, it's going to select, if I shift select, it may just select those areas and not, it's definitely not going to go into the blue because 5 is a pretty low value, but we want to select this brown smoky color without selecting the white. So here's where you're going to have to play around and do all of that. And once you can get that logo nice and clean, remember, don't forget your white spaces inside of the text. Once you get that nice and clean, then you can bring it into your document. But I've already done that, so I'm just going to come into what I've already done here. And where is it? Where are you? Where are you? At the top. There we go. So I'm just going to do it this way, but you guys will have to do it the hard way. Oh. Okay, there we go. So let's move this down right into that corner. So don't go to the left of your ruler or down to the bottom. And we'll put that there. And let's say you could add the same effects to it, the same layer style if you want, or maybe go into effects and add something else. But I'm just going to copy the layer style from those other ones. I kind of liked it. So I'm going to open up Lens Crafter. I'm going to right click and copy layer style, and layer 3 is this my, yeah, that's that. And then I'm going to right click and paste layer style there, just to give that little bit of pop right there. Okay, so I know this was a long lesson, but this was our weekly exercise for week 3. So I'd like you to go through this tutorial and essentially recreate this. Now, it doesn't have to look exactly like what I have, but I would like to see that you're able to understand how the effects work. And I'm more going to be looking at your selections and, coming in and looking at your craftsmanship on how well you've been able to integrate the two images, whether they're the logos or the portrait. So go through this. Again, it's a long video, and I'm sure you've all been kind of working along with me. But let's upload this to me, send this to me in Laulima as a PSD, as a Photoshop file, because I do want to look and see at your layers. And those of you that want to go even further, you could organize this into groups if you wanted to. For example, let's say these 3 shapes, right? We could Oh, there we go. I don't know why that wasn't working. So you could Command G and put those into a group and select wave. Okay. And then with the Lens Crafter, AccuView, and um, iVision here, so that there's iVision. I didn't change that, but so for these here, iVision, Lens Crafter, and AccuView, I'm going to Command G and put those in as logos, right? And then the text I could, so there's my eye exams layer 2. What was that? Oh, that was free. Oh, that was the underline and the exclamation point. But this is all essentially my text. So I mean, I could shift select all of that, Command G, text. Oh, text. Oh, let's put that. So can you read this? Let's put that into the text as well. And again, send this to me as a Photoshop document, and I'll be uploading more course content throughout the week. Okay.